Welcome to A Meaningful Marketplace.
I'm Sarah Masoni from Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center, where I've helped countless dreamers launch their new food products. It's the science of taking a food delight from the kitchen to mass manufacturing and still keeping its great taste. That's what I do. I've been called the woman with the $1 million palate, although I haven't tried to cash that check yet. Listen in weekly for real-life stories.
I'm Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Hot Sauce and author of Preservation Pantry, modern canning from root to top and stem to core. I love inspiring business owners to get started on their journey, encourage folks to be part of their local community, and I'm excited to help business owners tell their stories. Hello and welcome to the Meaningful Marketplace. We are here weekly to discuss the journeys of food entrepreneurs. We're glad you've joined us today as we bring you stories of hope and inspiration. This is Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Hot Sauce. Sarah Masoni is off on adventures and she will be back with us next week. We have been partnering with the Regional Food Business Center to bring you guests from our 6-state region. We just finished wrapping on Idaho and we are moving on this week to the great state of Montana. I would like to welcome you, our co-host this week. We have Hailey Vine. She was with us last year. She's the Food and Agriculture Development Officer for the Department of Agriculture in Montana. Welcome, Hailey.
Thanks, Sarah. Good to be back.
It's so good to have you back. Thanks for being our Montana expert while we meet all these great new friends. Anything you want to tell us about Montana or anything that's changed since last time you were here last year?
Oh, man. Well, personally, last time I was on the podcast, I was pregnant, and now we have our daughter here with us.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we have little Lucy. She's 8 months, so that's been a great change. And in the world of Montana, I feel like through a lot of the support from the Regional Food Business Center, we've been able to really just hit the ground running on offering different technical assistance and business support programs to really help our local food entrepreneurs take off. And so that's just been really fun to take part in with our Food and Aid Development Center network. But it's just been crazy to see how many businesses have come out of the woodworks because of programs like that. So yeah, that's just kind of like in a nutshell. We've been going as busy as ever, it seems like.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad to have you back. I'm excited to meet with all of these fun new people in Montana. Last time around, it was so fun. I learned a lot about Montana. I found so many new businesses to support and to be connected to. So thanks for signing up to come back and guide us through Montana again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And we would like to encourage all of you to connect with your state by signing up for the Regional Food Business Center newsletter. It's a breeze to sign up. Just go to Northwest Rocky Mountain Regional Food Business Center.com, hit connect with us, and choose the button to receive newsletters. They post all kinds of great scholarship opportunities, grants, and just all kinds of different things happening within our 6-state region. And we want to thank our sponsor for supporting the Meaningful Marketplace. Thank you for helping us spread the word about small business owners and entrepreneurs. Let's hear a word from our sponsor. The Northwest and Rocky Mountain Regional Food Business Center is the proud sponsor of the Meaningful Marketplace podcast, giving a voice to food from across the 6-state region of Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming. The Food Business Center supports Northwest and Rocky Mountain food industry makers as part of the USDA's National Network of Food Business Centers, supporting a more resilient, diverse, and competitive food system as a go-to source for small and mid-tier food and farm businesses with a focus on underserved communities, providing education in the form of technical knowledge, business programs, and industry news. We sponsor trade shows, meetups, and conferences to connect growers, producers, retailers, distributors, and processors, all to stimulate business and raise the standards of our storied food industry. Join us as we travel through the 6-state region, learning more about food makers, food hubs, and food systems. Visit the website at Northwest Rocky Mountain Regional Food Businesses.com to get connected. And I would like to introduce our guest today. We have Duane Manis, owner of Soulless Ginger. He's making hot money. Not hot money. Sorry.
Hopefully.
He's making hot honey out of Butte, Montana. We're delighted to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And we would like to connect our listeners to you and give them the best way to follow you and your story. How can they find you on social media and online?
Right now, just Facebook and Instagram, the Soulless Ginger Hot Honey, all one word. no spaces or underscores or anything. Been told I need to start doing like a web page and all that stuff. I haven't went that far with it yet, but I'm not a social media guy.
That's okay. For now, I could find you on Instagram, and we'll make sure to link that in the show notes below so people can find you. We always like to start at the beginning of people's journey. So tell us when you started Soulless Ginger and what inspired you to start.
I was making wings one night and I had a common commercially available hot honey sauce, and I just wasn't a fan, and looked in my cabinet and I saw some honey and some hot sauce, and I was like, let me try something. And I got the recipe where I wanted it on my second try. Been doing that one for about 5 years now. All summer last year, I was asked for hotter variants. So over the fall and winter last year, I made a medium and a hot as well.
Very cool. And Hailey, do you know Duane? Have you had his hot honey?
I have not, but Duane is connected with Brennan, who's our Food and Ag Development Center Director in Butte, Montana. And he raves about your product. And so when I was talking to him about podcast people, and then I knew Sarah, your background with your hot sauces, I was like, oh, this would be a perfect fit.
I know. I was really excited when I saw you on the agenda, Duane, because I love spicy things, of course. So I'm excited to check out your product. For people that aren't in Montana, do you ship your products out, or is it something that people need to come directly to Montana to get from you?
I have done shipping. Unfortunately, that is really expensive. I've been told about a new shipping platform that's a lot cheaper, so I've got to look into that. Goal is to get into like grocery stores and stuff, so it's just a lot easier for. I got friends and family from Florida to Oregon, so it's just spread all through the U.S. So I'd like to just be more available for them.
One of those things down the road. For now, when people want to get your product, I saw that you do a lot of farmers markets and fair events and things like that. Tell people where they can find you.
The Butte Farmers Market, usually every weekend, and festival coming up first weekend of October in Townsend, Montana, the Fall Fest. That last year was a very successful weekend there. If people know me or word of mouth, they hit me up. I'll either meet them in town or I'll ship it. I'm more than willing to ship it. I just really hate charging $30-something to ship a $20 pint of hot honey.
Yeah, shipping's kind of expensive, and it's hard when you ship in glass because you definitely don't want it to break, because it's sad for the customer and it's also sad for you because you spent all this time making it and you want it to get there safely, of course.
Yes, ma'am.
I've noticed that when you do all those events around town, you probably get a real feel for Montana and the community. You get the real spirit of the farmers market and of the way that the community gathers. Can you tell us about what it's like to be with the community in Montana, what it's like to be at those events?
Yeah, I was very skeptical to start going up there, and I didn't. There's not a lot of spicy foods in Montana. I was like, nobody's gonna want this spicy honey. And then I started having a few people show up, and the first time I went, I sold out in 3 hours. I took 3 gallons and I sold out in 3 hours. So I was like, oh, maybe it is a market, but just started playing with the sizes and all that, trying to figure out the prices, and the feedback has just been incredible. And every week somebody's telling me something new that they've put it on, and every week it just seems to be more and more crazy ideas that people come up with, and I just love hearing all that stuff. Because that, to me, that's what it is. It's an ingredient, it's a condiment. It's do with it as you will. Like I started making it for wings, but now it's on everything: pizza, cocktails. Every week it's something new.
So people in Montana do want spicy things after all.
Seems like it.
And you have kind of a catchphrase I saw you have on your car and things. Let's tell people about what that is.
More versatile than ranch dressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted something bold and kind of aggressive with I wanted to trigger that. Well, let me see if it really is.
Yeah,
totally. So how spicy is your mild versus your medium or hot?
The easiest way is to say the Scoville scale of the hot sauces I use, which is 2,000 for the mild, 70,000 for the medium, 2.7 million almost for the hot. So,
okay.
And the hot builds. The more you eat of the hot, the hotter it gets. The other two don't build, but the hot gets hot.
That's so fun. And do you give samples to people at your market so they can taste it first?
Yes, ma'am. I got regular and gluten-free crackers. That's just the easiest delivery device.
Oh, okay.
And then I got squeeze bottles, and just let them go at their own pace of what they want to try.
Have you ever thought about doing a deposit system where if people pay up front for your glass bottles and then if they bring them back to you, just thinking about ease of supply, but then also lower costs or, waste, I guess would be the right word too.
I was doing that, or had that thought at least. And then because of shipping issues and even people just walking around the market, they just complain about how heavy it was for the glass
Mm.
bottle and all that. So I found BPA-free plastic jars that are not only a lot lighter, a lot cheaper to ship because they're lighter. They don't break as easily or lose the seal. So, and then another customer asked me to start doing squeeze bottles. So now I have just plastic pint jars and then plastic squeeze bottles. And I also just started doing 5-ounce variety packs. So 5 ounces of all 3 flavors. And that
Oh,
one,
wow.
I did a trial of that and they sold out in like 2 hours. They just flew off. Everyone wanted those. So
That's great. So tell us what is in your variety pack.
well, it's 5 ounces of all 3, the mild, the medium, and the hot. So you get 5 ounces of Bumblebee, 5 ounces of Yellow Jacket, and 5 ounces of Murder Hornet.
Very
I love the
cool.
names.
So fun. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear more about your process and your favorite events to do. So we'll be right back.
Oregon State University's College of Agricultural Sciences and the Food Innovation Center are proud sponsors of Meaningful Marketplace. With a mission to serve all Oregonians, we are committed to giving voice to those whose food and agricultural stories are not always heard. By providing access and opportunity for a more diverse and just food system, because food brings people together.
Let's hear about your process and where you make your hot honeys. So you don't have to tell us any secrets or anything like that, but what's the process like for making your products? Do you do them at home? Do you have a licensed kitchen? What's your process like?
I use the Elks Lodge kitchen for commercial grade to be wholesale compliant. I heat up the honey once it's in a liquid state, mix in the hot sauce. I got a drill with a paint paddle on it for the volumes that I do, and I pour it out into usually a 5-gallon bucket or so and spin it. As soon as I mix it, pour it into the containers.
Very cool.
Do you have to worry about it crystallizing?
It does a little bit, like very tops. The easiest thing is just heat it up, obviously, hot water.
Right.
Let it sit in some hot water. The mild doesn't do a whole lot because there's a lot of vinegar in that hot sauce. So it just stays really thin. And that one you can even put in the fridge to get cold or thicken up a little bit. I wouldn't do that with the others because they're already so thick. And it also just doesn't seem to last that long. It doesn't sit in people's cabinets for very long to crystallize. A lot of, especially if they're like smoking ribs or something, it's pretty much a pint to do that. So
Right.
They use it all up.
Pretty much.
That's great. And when you rent a space from the Elks Lodge, do you have a certain amount of time you can use, or can you just use it whenever you like?
It's pretty much as whenever I want, but sometimes there's already people there, or sometimes you just split the space. I don't need that much. The heating element, and then place to do, sterilize the jars, everything before and after with the sinks and stuff, and then just a little space to pour it into the jars.
And Hailey, when, since you are with the Department of Agriculture and your process would be probably going and checking out spaces like this that people can get certified in. So I'm imagining probably Elks Lodges, church kitchens, maybe school kitchens, restaurants, places like that. And when you go in and check them out, or someone from your department goes in and checks them out, just for our listeners who are thinking about it, are there certain things that you're looking for, or certain things that are allowed or aren't allowed that we can tell Montana people to be looking for when they're looking for a kitchen to certify?
Yeah. So actually, when it comes to commercial kitchen certifications, that's overseen by the Department of Human and Health Services in Montana. So we have county sanitarians, and so each county has their own sanitarian that goes around and certifies commercial kitchens. But from the department perspective, we strongly encourage shared use of these commercial kitchens, especially when Montana is so rural and we have to drive so far to get in between places. It just makes sense for communities to come together to have that shared use. So we see it a lot with, just like you said, the Elks Clubs, the churches. We even see it at some of the food banks and even restaurants that close down, say they're only open in the afternoons. Some even let companies come and use their kitchen in the mornings before they have staff there. So yeah, if you are wanting to access the commercial kitchen, or you believe your space is ready for that certification, you would just want to get in touch with the Montana DPHHS or your local county sanitarian.
Yeah, in Oregon, we have, it's just a little different here. Even if it's a restaurant that's certified, they're certified through the health department. But if it's somebody like me or Duane that wants to make something, we get our certification through the Department of Agriculture.
Oh,
So
interesting. Yeah,
even if
that's
we're making it
interesting.
in a restaurant, we contact a different department. But every
Yeah,
state's different.
crazy.
That's why we like to have these shows so that we can
Yeah.
guide people in the right direction. Because even when someone will sometimes contact me from Montana or from when we're talking to people in Idaho from these other states, and my first thing is always, you need to contact someone from your state because it's going to be a totally different
Yes,
set of rules. But we
totally.
do like to point people in the right direction. So if you're in Montana, your process is going to be different than it is for us here in Oregon. So
Totally. But we definitely oversee a lot of the, of course, like agriculture aspect. And so I was thinking of the bees with the honey. There's about 650 registered beekeepers in Montana right now. And so for sure, we help maintain their status and their qualifications for that. And Duane, I believe you use a local honey producer, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Beaverhead down in Dillon. And I was using Bill over in Arlee
Oh, okay.
for the bulk. He had the 5-gallon buckets, which was really nice. But then I found something a lot closer, 2 hours round trip versus 2.5 hours one way. But I might go back to Bill if I go up to Ronan to the Mission Mountain.
Mission
don't know
Mountain
the
Food
name.
Enterprise Center.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they're a great resource for any food product developer in the state. So, and they also use part of their facility as a commercial kitchen for their community to use.
Yeah, I think we talked to them last time around, right, Hailey, when we were talking to Montana?
Yeah, I believe Jan was on, and she also had her facility manager. I think he was on with some of your interviews.
Yeah, definitely. So, Duane, when you go and get the honey, you go pick it up from someone local, so you kind of know your beekeepers and your supply chain. Can you tell us a little bit about why it was important for you to choose Montana honey?
It just seems to be everyone wants local. The closer to your house, the better. Everyone wants that local. Whether it's, I was just in Missouri visiting family, and I made some there for everyone for the family reunion, and I went and got some right there in Missouri. So it was just that name, locally made or locally sourced. It just, people love to hear that and love to see it. So I just try to give the customers what they like.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Are you part of the Made in Montana program yet?
I have not submitted to that yet. I got notes of things I need to go to do that. That's one. I'm a disabled veteran, so I need to get that official sticker. And those are the top two on my list for labeling: Made in Montana and disabled veteran.
Yeah, Hailey, will you tell us about the Made in Montana program in case there's other makers that don't know about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Made in Montana is a part of the Montana Department of Commerce. So it's a way for us to promote all the great products that are made in Montana. I believe that is trademarked. And so they have Made in Montana, Grown in Montana, and then Native American Made in Montana. And it's a fairly easy process to get qualified. You just have to answer a questionnaire that justifies that you are in fact producing a product that is, I'm not sure what their threshold is, but for sure majority of the product is made in Montana. And I believe that they did a study recently, and by recently, I don't know how recent that is, but they found that you could charge, I believe it was 25% higher. Like people were willing to pay more for that product because of that logo, whether it's a Montanan who wants that local piece, just like Duane was explaining, or it's that tourist who wants that Montana, that different piece than what they can get at home. It's definitely worth the sticker, and it's a free program. So when you sign up, you get a bunch of stickers that you're able to put on your products, or you can even incorporate the image into your packaging. So you just print it on one label and put it on. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. And then they have a trade show every year in Helena that also is open to the public, but also closed for just buyers and wholesalers. And so that's a great place for Montana businesses to gain large accounts.
Yeah, it sounds like it's worth it to be able to put that sticker on there and then charge the money that your product is worth, and people will pay it.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you about the folk festival that you do in Montana. Duane, can you tell us a little bit about that? Sounds fun.
Well, Folk Fest is in Butte. That's like a music
Mhm.
festival with vendors, but Fall Fest in Townsend, kind of the same vibe, but live music and vendors everywhere. It was a 3-day weekend last year for Fall Fest, and the email this year is just saying Saturday, Sunday. So I don't know if they dropped the Friday part of it or not, or they're just not going to have the vendors this year. But it's from arts and crafts to food to knickknacks, puzzles. Townsend's pretty small, but that event is very popular.
Yeah, it sounds fun. So what are your plans for your business, Duane? You want to get your sauces online to sell and get them into stores?
That and restaurants. There's one restaurant here in Butte, Saffron. They're using it already for both a appetizer and for cocktails, and that was really cool. I know Azar through a mutual friend, and she really likes my hot sauce, and she brought back an appetizer because she got rid of it because she didn't like the hot honey that she had, but she really likes my mediums. Originally, she bought 2 pints, and then she's like, "Hey, we already went through this. I need 4 pints." I was like, I mean, I can sell you a gallon at a discount. So we did that, and I don't know how close they are. That was a couple weeks ago. So
Very cool.
hopefully she's ready for another order soon.
I'm not a spicy person. So educate me, what kind of cocktails? The only cocktail I could think of that you would use it would be like Caesars or something.
So the very first one I ever saw was a Bloody Mary and Caesar.
Okay.
Spicy margarita martinis. You can
Oh.
even use it as the sugared rim. And then my favorite, make a simple syrup out of it for an old fashioned. Those are the 5 I've seen. I've had the
Those are creative.
margarita and the old fashioned. The old fashioned is definitely my favorite because I prefer whiskey, but
I was thinking, yeah, like a hot toddy or something, like
yeah,
something like
definitely.
that. That sounds fun.
Sarah, you and Duane might need a collab.
I know. I was thinking I could write you some recipes for cooking with your hot honey. That's my favorite thing to do. I like to write food recipes.
Oh, nice. I love to hear it all. And I've been told I need to make notes and even make like videos of it. And even like, I don't know, I've never messed with TikTok or anything, but just quick, simple little videos of I made this, put this on it.
Yeah, you got to get the kids into it.
I need to hire a kid to do that
Yeah,
for me because
right.
I don't know anything about it.
My daughter's always on TikTok. She loves it. Well, Duane, we have a lot of people that listen to the show that are currently dreaming up a business. So do you have any advice for them?
Listen to your friends and the people around you. I didn't even want to do this. It was just a side passion of mine that I've loved to cook since I was 6 or 7 years old. And I'm a welder and a truck driver. Running a business was never in my future plans. And then I would just make food with it or take extras in and give it away to friends and coworkers, and they'd be like, "Man, you got to sell this." For like 2 years they were on me, and finally I was like, "Fine, I'll go sell it." And I'm glad I did because I blew out my knee driving my semi, and I at least had this to fall back on. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to lean into that now and get all the licenses and everything legal and stuff so I can do outside of the farmers market. And it took off, and I ignored them for 2 years. It's like, I don't want to, I don't need to, I have this. And now I'm hating that I waited 2 years to do it because it's really taken off.
Well, it's good that you did and you listened to your friends and family. So thank you, friends and families, for encouraging Duane to do it.
Yes, thank you.
Hailey, do you have any other questions for Duane before we wrap?
I was just curious your timeline of progression from the farmers markets to retail and wholesale.
I'm trying to get funding and just to grow. I don't want to commit to grocery stores or anything like that when I'm struggling to keep up with the 5-hour farmers market once a week.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily it sells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your current wholesale accounts are just very supply driven right now.
It is. It's between usually like, I don't know, 30 to 50 pints in a farmer's market, which is great. It's a great 5-hour shift, but just want to get the inventory built up to where, I've had 4 or 5 other restaurants in Montana express interest, more of a corporate thing, got to go through those hoops with it. But the demand is out there. I just got to get the supply up to meet the demand. And once I do that, then I really want to, maybe go out to Mission Mountain where they have that big, I did a Zoom call meeting with Jan's number 2.
Travis.
And he was telling me about the facility. And I was like, man, that sounds exactly like what I need. Even it
Yeah,
is 2.5 hours away from Butte, but go there and make that 6-month supply or 3-month supply, even just to get started, whatever it is, just to have enough to get pushed out there into the marketplace.
absolutely.
Yeah, are there any current grants or scholarships or anything through Department of Agriculture in Montana or the Regional Food Business Center that are available, Hailey, that you know of through Montana?
Yeah, actually, one thing that I'm thinking of, and Duane, you may have visited with Brennan already about this, but our business enhancement program, that program's been amazing because it's targeted just to offer access to TA and like food product development resources at little to no charge. And so that program could very well assist you in working with MMFEC at a very discounted rate if you want to go that route. Or if you want to explore more recipes, you could even work with the MSU Food Product Development Lab, which they're an amazing team as well, a little closer, but they're not like a co-packer or a manufacturer like Mission Mountain is. And then, of course, we have our annual Grow Through Agriculture grant that actually opens up in about a month. That one could be of assistance as well, but for sure, just chat with Brennan. But I think BEP would be an initial starting point for you.
Sounds great. I'll definitely look into all of those.
Hey, you're in good hands with him.
Yeah, he's been great.
All right. Well, Duane, it was great to meet you today, and I wish you the best of luck in your journey. It sounds like you're just getting started, and I'm super excited for it. I can't wait until you have everything all together to ship to Oregon. I will order from you for sure. And Hailey, it was so good to connect with you again. I can't wait to hear all these wonderful new Montana people that I get to meet. I'm excited to continue this journey. Thanks for both of your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to our listeners for tuning into the show. You can rate us on Apple Podcasts and iTunes. You can follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Meaningful Marketplace Podcast. You can call or text Sarah and I with questions at 503-395-8858. And we couldn't do this without our fantastic team at Joy of Creation Production House. Thanks to Dave, our production coordinator, and Hailey, our audio engineer. And we will be back next week, everybody. Bye.